Welcome to the Ben and Lauren Show. I'm Ben, and this is Lauren. And here we are, after a 3-week hiatus.
It's been 3 weeks. Apparently we took summer vacation.
Yeah, we took a break. A lot going on.
Yeah, I think we got to the end of every Saturday night and said, we can't stay awake. We're going to bed now.
Well, it's usually me. Lauren's usually like, we're going to do the Ben and Lauren Show? And I'll say, good night. Going to bed. But here we are. We made it back again.
We did.
So, what did we do this week? Oh, what did we do over the last 3 weeks?
I think at the end of the last show we were discussing, we had finished one side of the fence, but we had not put a gate in it.
So, we have installed a gate. We have installed a latch. We've gotten everything all taken care of on that side.
After we installed the gate and the latch, the gate settled.
Yeah.
So we had to move the latch because for a while the gate wouldn't latch at all.
We did get the lumber back. We talked about that.
Yep.
We got it back right away, actually. And
we moved on with other stuff. We haven't started the other side of the fence because we got a gigantic 10 yards of mulch delivered.
Yeah, just right after the last Ben and Lauren show, we got a gigantic truckload full of mulch. I think I did a steam it post on the picture. But it's this huge pile, and even now, weeks later, it's still there.
Ben's dad thinks that we haven't spread it all around because we got too much. The truth is, it just takes us a while to get it all spread around. We have more than enough places to put every little bit of that mulch.
We're hoping to get a lot out tomorrow. We'll see.
I think if we make a push to get it out.
It's been very, very hot these last couple weeks, actually. So we've had a couple cool days, but
it's cooled off last 2 days. But typically it's been 90 to 95.
So we've been doing lots in the garden. Garden's looking good. We're almost due for another garden tour update. We watched the video of the last one, and everything's so tiny. Now we look at the garden, everything's so big. It's amazing what a couple weeks can do.
Do you want to do the tour before I pull up all the turnips and plant new ones?
We should. Probably get some more mulch down first.
I notice the squirrels are starting to steal the turnips. I may need to fence them.
Well, we'll make mulching the garden priority tomorrow, and then we can do a tour.
Most of it's mulched.
Yeah.
I think I've done most of the.
I was thinking by the orchard area.
Yeah, that definitely needs doing.
The orchard area is a series of small fruit trees, and we just need to load up the whole area with tons of mulch, protect those trees.
I think we've pretty much made the decision that we're going to take down 3 of the trees, which is kind of sad because we've been working on them for several years. But when you have a small garden, you have to make choices, and if you've worked on something for 5 years and you're not getting any fruit. Now, we have gotten fruit off the cherry tree, but the cherry tree has fire blight, and it's getting worse by the year. And nothing that I've done has seemed to...
You're talking about the tart cherry?
The tart cherry. Nothing that I've done has seemed to prevent it, and this year we lost about 2/3 of the crop. It's not that big of a tree, so all we got out of it was about a cup of cherries, when I think when we started we probably had enough to make a pie, even though it's a little tree. But the branches kept dying one after another. And you can see it's leaking sap out of the trunk, and we noticed that once the trees start doing that, it's really hard to combat.
That would be the second tart cherry tree that we've taken down.
But the other thing that I was considering about the tart cherry is that in order to use the cherries, unless we got a tremendous amount and we're able to dry them, everything that we do with them requires a lot of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always trying to avoid the sugar. So we have the cherries, I put them in the freezer, and then we don't use them very much.
Unlike blueberries or strawberries or other fruit.
Apples. We have an apple tree.
We have one apple tree, and actually, we would be better off having all apple trees.
Or the one that we have, making it really fruitful.
That's true, too.
If we just worked on that.
Right now, we have 2 cherries, 1 apple, and 2 peaches.
The peaches put out a tremendous amount of growth, but we have yet to get a peach crop.
We haven't gotten a single peach. After how many years now?
They set their peaches.
7 years? 6 years?
The bigger one's been there for 7 years.
7 years and no peaches.
And they keep putting the peaches out, but peaches take a long time to ripen, so it's very difficult to keep the fruit all the way through till it ripens. And we've got 2 problems. One is there's some mysterious problem with the tree where the new growth wilts and dies, And then the peaches spring a leak. They get sap all over them when they're only about golf ball size and they're green, and then they wither up and fall off.
And you would think that peach sap would be really tasty, but it's not.
We've talked to a master gardener, we've talked to multiple people, and nobody really can tell us what the problem with the peaches really is.
I know we had peach borers for a while, but we solved that problem.
Well, sort of. I have to constantly patrol the base of the tree to keep them from digging into the tree. So they're constantly under attack by borers. And then the squirrels, those darn squirrels, they steal everything we manage to keep on the tree.
Yeah, squirrels are bad.
So at this point, it's like they are taking up a tremendous amount of room in our garden, and I doubt we're ever going to get anything out of them.
So I'd like to grow onions there, or maybe potatoes.
Something that we could keep.
Something useful.
So it's really sad because I've been working on them for a long time, but I feel like the Bible story where the master of the garden says, "This tree is useless," and then the gardener says, "Well, give me another year and I'll try to make it come back." Well, I felt like that 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sad. I would want to see the tree go, but I mean, it's a waste of our energy, money, time, energy, everything.
And the space is precious.
And space. It's taking up a lot of nutrients and things.
I think the more you garden, if you want to seriously learn how to do it and you really work on it, the more you start getting ruthless about things that don't do any good.
Yeah. I know we did, we grew one thing successfully.
Oh, yeah. Our comfrey plant. This is the second year we've had our comfrey.
This thing's huge. This is one leaf.
The thing is about, well, let's start off with the root ball, or the root crown that we got last year to plant. We got a bare root, and we got it last June.
Yeah, it was June.
And it was this big around. That's it.
And it came in the mail.
It had 3 little roots sticking off it, and I planted it, and it had leaves come up, and they were fairly large. But they were not like this.
Now, if Adam and Eve are using leaves like this, they can make clothing just fine.
But I bet it would make them itchy. It's got like these little spiny fibers all over it.
Yeah, it is kind of fibrous.
We grew comfrey because it attracts nitrogen into the ground, and also what you do is you cut these leaves off and you put them in a bucket and you kind of let them dissolve, and then you take the liquid that comes from them and you add it to water, and it's a fantastic fertilizer over here.
Now, looks like the thorns are in the middle here. You don't want to put your hand down in the middle.
So we have our first batch of, it's called comfrey tea. Ben harvested pretty much all the leaves off it about 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was amazing because I thought I cut it back too far because I thought I killed it.
Wasn't that much left of it.
Because we took off all the stalks and a whole bunch of the big leaves. Basically, I left, oh, bless you.
Excuse me.
Basically, I left.
Maybe I'm allergic to it.
I left just a couple leaves, and I figured I don't know if that's going to be enough for the plant to survive. We go back now, and the plant's huge again.
The entire plant is about 3 to 4 feet around right now. It is as big as our big plantain hostas. I don't think I can put my arms around it. It's gigantic.
So we have a whole bunch of comfrey tea, and we're about to get. I mean, we can get some more.
I think we should drain off the concentrate, put the leftovers around our fruit trees, and start a new batch.
Yep. And from what we're told, we've never used it before, but what we're told is you dilute it down, and then I don't know if you dump it or spray it.
We'll have to look that up again. I think you spray it on.
Spray it on, and I guess
you water it on somehow.
It's very nitrogen rich, and it doesn't burn.
It has a couple. I think it may have calcium in it also.
Yeah.
It's a couple of nutrients. I have to look it up again.
I know it's very, very good for the soil.
Yeah.
It's a weed, but
a lot of people interplant it into a lot of their like trees, orchards especially, because it is a companion plant that really helps out the plants around it.
No, we have. Now, comfrey is normally a weed, and it spreads really easily through the roots, or is it through seed?
Seed.
Through seed. This one does not spread by seed.
I think it's called a Baking 14. It's a Russian variety, and it spreads by dividing the crown. So apparently it spreads slowly. And
in other words, we can keep it under control.
We can keep it under control, and if we want to repropagate it, we can just dig up one of the little crownlets and move that.
Because I know down south, those giant plants will...
I suspect it's like burdock. Once you get it in your
We
yard.
get burdock here too, and if you let the burdock go long enough, they get giant leaves like that too.
Yeah, they're supposed to be beneficial also, but we've had more trouble keeping them out of things.
Yeah.
They get pretty spectacularly big.
We get a lot of burdock because of the last batch of free mulch. The last batch of free mulch had a bunch of burdock in it.
And we didn't know at the time what
So
all
we
those little sticky burrs were.
Yeah, so we put this burdock all over the place in the mulch. Next thing you know, we have burdock. We'll never really get rid of
Everywhere.
it. We'll never get rid of
Yeah,
burdock.
I don't think so.
But little by little, we pluck them up when they're small or when they're not so small.
If we keep it under control, it's not a terrible weed to have one or two of around.
And you can make a tea out of it. I hear burdock is very good for you. Medicinal. I haven't tried it.
It's kind of like dandelions. You can use them, but their damage is pretty amazing.
That's another weed. So, one other plant that is doing well is our blueberry bush. We have 2 blueberry bushes.
Blueberries are finicky, and since we have clay here, we have to really be careful of the dirt that they're in.
They like acidic.
They like very acidic, sandy
Yeah.
soil. So we've got them planted up in very loamy soil. My guess is we're going to have to put more peat moss down on them at some point.
I'm thankful when we got our mulch, it was mostly pine, which is acidic.
Which we're really happy about because when we tested our garden, the alkalinity was like at 8.
And we couldn't figure out why it was so alkaline, and then we solved the mystery. We are on a clay bed, and the clay bed has lime in it, which is very alkaline. Normally it's not a problem because you've got a thick layer of topsoil, but when we did construction around this area, a lot of that clay got dug up, mixed in with the soil.
Right. So our garden got very alkalinized.
So we have to de-alkalinize our garden.
So normally you wouldn't really want to put shredded pine needles and pine bark and stuff on a regular vegetable garden because it would just be too acidic for it. For our garden, it's very important. And
Yeah.
actually we have some hydrangea plants
Yeah.
that were blooming bright pink, which means they're growing in alkaline soil. And we put down some mulch 2 weeks ago, and the new blossoms are already turning purple. They're not blue, but you can definitely tell that there's some acid going into the soil. So
It's a
all
good,
that to say,
we can actually kind of get an idea what the pH is from that.
yeah, it's a good indicator. All that to say, our blueberry bushes, we were not sure that we could actually get them to grow, but they have not only survived, but this year for the first time they set blueberries.
Yep. Only one of them, one of the 2.
Well, the other one had a harder time in the first place.
And we were walking by the blueberry bushes tonight. We went for a little walk, and Lauren looked over and said, "Oh, look, there's 2 blueberries on there."
We had a couple of really good-sized
here they
clusters,
are.
but we're right at the very end of the
Whoa.
harvest.
Well, one blueberry.
I'll get that one later.
Oh, that rolled away.
You can taste
You
that
can
one.
have it. I'm sorry, I dropped mine, so you can enjoy yours.
Well, here.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, is it sweet?
Actually, yes, it is.
Oh, good.
The first one you ate was sour.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
So apparently the blueberries at the end of the harvest are better than at the beginning.
Maybe. That was
So-
really good. So if that's any indication of how good the blueberries are going to be when it finally gets into full swing,
Yeah. Well,
We're in
right now
luck.
they're only about this tall.
yeah.
And I do think that they are naturally not a full size because I think a full size blueberry bush can get up to 8 feet tall. These ones we planted only get up to 5 feet, which is probably good because where we have them planted, an 8-foot tall blueberry bush would probably completely block the path.
Yeah. So I'm happy with the blueberries. If we can get rid of the peach trees that don't produce peaches and the cherry trees that don't produce cherries,
And we have to do some serious work with our raspberry patch.
our raspberry has some serious issues we need to work out too.
It's got... See, these are all the things that come with gardening, and we've grown a garden, but I think it's really only recently that we started looking at it as a serious project in that if we're going to have a garden, let's make it work.
Right. We've done pretty well with the cucumbers this year.
Better.
Better.
Well,
We got lots of props tonight.
yes. Well, it's the first time in 2 years that I've been able to start canning them. I think that we need more potassium in our soil, but we have cucumbers. These are an heirloom variety. They're a delicatessen cucumber from Germany, and I'm picking them very small because we're not doing crock pickles. And if I let
And
these
that
grow
dill's from our garden
full-size-
too, right?
Yes, the dill is. The garlic is not, but yeah, the dill and the cucumbers are from our garden. Which leads us to another harvest we've had because I think nobody grows herbs anymore. All the swallowtail butterflies from miles around are laying their eggs on our dill.
We have a lot of butterflies.
So-
The caterpillars.
The girls wanted us to buy caterpillars for their little caterpillar tent. And I said, I don't really want to spend $15 for caterpillars, but then I noticed a swallowtail laying eggs. And I taught the girls what the eggs looked like. And so we've been harvesting baby caterpillars off our dill so that they won't destroy our dill. And we're up to 12 in cocoon, and I think we have 18 babies.
What are we going to do with all these butterflies?
And I'm to the point where I think I'm going to have to start squashing them before the girls see them because we've got so many caterpillars.
So we've had one successful butterfly so far?
2.
2?
The first 2 we had, we raised from eggs. We hatched those out. But
It's pretty cool going from egg to caterpillar, actually from tiny caterpillar to full-size caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly.
yeah, when you find the eggs, they're very small. They are bright yellow, and they're about the size of the head of a pin. They are pretty tiny.
You can see them if you look carefully, but they're tiny.
Well, even Elena's getting good at spotting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we found a little one of the little worms on the dill, my dad's dill next door.
Yeah. And if you let those things go, they'll completely destroy your herb garden. If
They
we
will.
put them in jars, I can sort of direct what they eat. We found out they'll eat carrot tops.
Yep.
The carrot greens, they'll eat parsley, and they'll eat dill.
Now it also affects their color.
Yeah, we've got 2 side by side. One that was raised on carrot tops and one that was raised on dill.
You would think the carrot top would be orange.
It's bright green with only a little black.
Bright green.
And then
How
the one
about
on
the parsley?
it's mostly black with a little green.
And then the chrysalises also are different colors.
We found out that if they make their chrysalis on a branch, the chrysalis will be brown to blend in with the branch. But one of them made a chrysalis, actually, I think they're actually a cocoon.
Are they cocoons?
I think ours are cocoons.
Okay. I
But
thought that butterflies did chrysalises. We'd have to look it up.
Whatever its little thing is that it's in before it becomes a butterfly.
Cocoon, chrysalis.
One made it on parsley stalk before I got a stick in there for it, and